Welcome, my friends, to episode 58 of Prof and Dev Play Games. I am the Prof, Larry, and over there is Anthony.
The Dev.
How you doing over there?
Doing pretty good.
Yeah?
Another night, getting ready to, go back to work tomorrow morning.
Oof. But you're in crunch time, right?
Kind of. There's some crunching, but I don't think I crunch like I used to. I have a family and kids. I actually want to see them. So, and
you like them.
I feel like I'm older, and the other people on this team also are similar in that respect, and they're like, no, we'll just actually schedule the time necessary to get this done without killing ourselves.
And the launch is still scheduled for this year?
Or
is it?
Yeah, for the one I'm working on contract, should be going into greenlight this week, I expect.
Wow, nice.
Because we have to go through greenlight. Valve has become very strict on how this works. The people I'm contracting for, they just launched a game right before Halloween called Slayaway Camp, which is a voxel slide puzzle kind of game where you play 80s horror villain of different type and you're murdering camp kids.
Oh, so it's a family game.
It's totally family. It's hilarious. God, it's a hilarious game. But they got it on Steam. And he's previously always known, it's like, once you have a game on Steam, you can just put more games on Steam.
Right.
No, not anymore.
Well, because of all the shovelware shit they had from some of those other devs, maybe? Or what?
Maybe. I mean, it's just really strict. It's like, and we're like, can we get a key for the game I'm working on, Space Tyrant? And Valve's like, nope.
Huh.
You gotta go through greenlight. But we're like, the company already has a game. So we've been prepping our greenlight campaign for the past couple weeks. Trailer and everything should come out Tuesday or Wednesday, is my thought.
Awesome. Maybe we can talk about that next week when it's all up and stuff.
I'll tell you personally how a greenlight campaign goes.
Awesome. Maybe that'll be our discussion. One-sided, of course, but because I don't know shit about that.
I don't know either. We'll find out.
Awesome. Well, we will all learn together then.
Yes.
So this is episode 58. Before we get into the meat of it, I do want to let everyone know that somewhere in this podcast there will be a Steam key for Stardew Valley. So if you are on the fence about getting that game, heard a lot about it, want to play it, be like Anthony, be cool like him and play the game, you can.
True.
There will be a key.
Maybe
somewhere.
I'll just take the key and another copy.
Yeah, maybe
I like the game. I like that game so much that I want multiple digital versions of that game.
The listeners better be fast.
Yes.
So it'll be somewhere in the episode. You have to listen and find it. Also want to encourage all of our American listeners who are registered to vote on Tuesday. We are almost done with this awful, shitty election. But there are lots of things to vote for on your ballots besides president, so everyone should go and exercise their right to vote. Not everyone has it, so it'd be nice for everyone to exercise the right that they have. Yeah.
Already done.
Yep, me too. Early voting, man,
a week and
awesome.
a half ago.
Yep,
Washington's only mail-in vote. So.
And that means they pay your postage then.
It doesn't. This is the weird thing. On there it says you need a stamp, but the state has been very clear, and the post office has been very clear. They're like, any ballot we get, stamp or not, we will deliver it.
Right.
So it's kind of weird. I would much rather them just say, just drop it. But they also put drop boxes everywhere, at almost all the libraries.
Okay.
Seriously, I just dropped mine at the local library that's 3 minutes from my house. So.
Well, because otherwise it's a poll tax. Like if you can only vote through mail and you have to pay by a stamp, I mean it's a small poll tax, but it is one. So that makes sense.
Yeah. So no, they have big drop boxes that all over the place, and then they have mobile things that they move around to different remote locations. They're like, hey, we'll be here.
Cool.
So I think of the U.S., Washington with its mail-in has a pretty high percentage of voting.
Yeah.
It's easy.
It is easy.
Lines.
Voting should be easy. Where we live, there will be no lines because we're white people. They want us to vote. So
yeah,
it's only in other locations, unfortunately. Last piece of new news is that we are starting the Prof and Dev Play Games video game book club. That's a big long name. We'll think of a better name. So at the first podcast of each month, we're going to tell you the game we're playing this month, and we will discuss it in depth the first podcast of the next month. So the November choice is Oxenfree, Anthony and I will be playing Oxenfree this month, and the first podcast of December we will discuss it and then choose our next game for the book club, video game book club, and we're probably usually going to pick shorter games so that we could get through it because we both have a lot of other things to do and other games we're playing. So something that kind of fits into the cracks a little bit. Usually some small game that we've both had on our list that we haven't quite gotten to, so this will implore us to do so.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on that?
No, Oxenfree is a good one to start with. It's something I've been wanting to pick up and play.
Yeah, me too. Last thing, this podcast is going to be a little bit different in format. I'm not going to do section breaks. I don't have a lot of time after we're done recording to process the podcast, so I'm just going to do it in one straight audio block without any of the bumper music. So just be ready for that, listeners. We're just going to blow through each section. We've got discussion, news, games, and the off-topic banter. We're going to talk about podcasts that we're into at the end. But we're going to start with an Uncharted 4 spoilercast because this guy just finished Uncharted 4. I've been marathoning 2, 3, and 4 since like October 10th or something like that.
Yeah.
And I stuck with it. I can't believe it. I
was shocked that you finished it last night, actually. I wasn't sure if you were going to do it.
My goal was to finish it before today's podcast, but when I got to it last night and I saw that I had about 4 hours, I wasn't sure. But I did it. The time change helped, I think.
Yeah. So, overall,
I loved Uncharted 4. It's my favorite of the series.
Really?
I like it better than 2. And
I still like 2 more.
I like 4 more because the buddy, basically throughout the entire game, like I felt like I was with someone the entire time. It wasn't as I think there are more parts in 2 where I was alone.
Oh yeah.
I had Chloe in 2 and Elena at some point. I can't remember exactly where she was at. But Sam, I loved Sam. I really thought, I really liked him. And as I was going through the game, I was thinking, so first of all, this is a spoiler cast. If you haven't played Uncharted 4, we're gonna blow all the spoilers. We're talking about everything. So if you haven't played Uncharted 4, you're probably gonna want to fast forward to about 25 minutes or so.
I would say if you haven't played Uncharted 4, you really should do yourself a service, get a PS4, and play Uncharted 4.
If I was thinking about this earlier, if I didn't have a PS4, I would buy a PS4 just for this game. Like it was that good to me.
Yeah.
So I just thought Uncharted 4 was more mature than the other ones. The storytelling, the jokes. I mean, there were jokes in this that had me rolling on the floor. Like the mango, that's my safe word. That was the funniest thing in the whole game. And I thought it dealt with the characters really well. There was only one bad line in the entire game, in my view, and that was when Elena said, "It's not fair." And Nathan says, "What? We take turns washing the dishes." Like, what the fuck? Like, you were really trying to shoehorn in like this sentimental thing and that you set up earlier, like with the Crash Bandicoot,
Yeah.
But that was a fucking fail. That was a writing fail. That was terrible. But everything else was awesome. And this is like the best looking game I've ever seen. Like this is the best looking game on PS4.
Oh yeah, the vistas are amazing.
Oh my god.
Sometimes you're just like, yes, Naughty Dog shows other devs how to do pretty games, and how to use the hardware. Holy crap!
Right, and this is what we're 2.5, 3 years into the PS4 life cycle. Like, imagine what they can do next, and that ending. I mean, there are a million different ways that they could do another Uncharted.
Yes.
So many different ways.
So did you do the prologue? The epilogue, I mean.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
With the daughter.
I couldn't remember if it's after the credits.
No, it's before the credits.
Okay. Yeah. That part got me really bad. Like, it felt like that was just like the perfect ending.
It was, and it was a very strange experience for me because this is the first time I've played a video game with like a couple that I really dug, where they had a kid where I saw myself as the parent finally. Like, I don't have kids, but we're thinking about having kids eventually. And just like, it gave me a different perspective that I literally, like, I had to do a double take. I'm like, wait, how am I perceiving this right now? Not as the kid, but as the parent, and like how I would share my history with my kid eventually. Like, it was so good.
Yeah, it was a nice, and it felt good. It felt like, I'm happy this didn't go out in a any kind of like I mean, Sam could have died easily.
I was just thinking that, like some sort of saccharine death, right? Where it's like trying to like
they could have done that, like.
And they were fucking with us. They were so close. They're like, we're gonna do it, and then they didn't, and it was so. I just love that they didn't do it. They're like, we're gonna subvert convention here, and we're not gonna like, do this sappy saccharine thing.
Yeah, but it worked though.
The
ending works for the themes of the entire series together. You're just like, oh, this is the ending, and it fits. It fits with it. I feel like it's true to the characters. It's true to the storytelling.
Yep.
They didn't try to shoehorn stuff in at the end. It's like, no, this is how this would naturally. You feel like this is how the characters would progress, especially with the daughter and after, and you're like, yeah, this kind of makes sense. Like,
well, I thought they did a great job of introducing Sam, this new character, to the series, and it's like, oh, the long lost brother bullshit, but it was so well done, and like how much time they spent together. Like, I loved Sam, I really, really did. And I was like, please don't make him turn on Nate. Please don't make him turn on Nate. And then there's that scene, right, where I was like, no. And I was like, maybe it's not as bad as I think it is. But I also thought the parallels with Uncharted 1 were great, where it's basically you and Elena on that jungly island. And that really was reminiscent of 1 to me. But way, way better done.
Way better.
Oh, my God, so much better. And sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I would say, and also, like, that was fantastic. And I mean, you tweeted through this stuff, and you're like, yeah, Drake is a complete and total dick
at
the beginning of this game. Like, but not in a. When I look at it, I'm like, I still really like the character.
Yeah.
But you're just like, you're making a huge mistake. What are you doing?
Right.
But they're so clear in their writing about you understand his motivations.
Right.
You're like, you shouldn't do this. I understand why you're doing it. I understand what's going on.
Right.
But they nail that part of the character would make it so easy for you to be like, God, you're such a dick and asshole. Why are you doing this? To be like, you're still really likable. You shouldn't be doing this.
Yep.
But you are. But it also bleeds into showing, I would say, a much more mature relationship.
Yeah.
Like, their relationship is written so well, Elena and Nate's, and the way of like, I'm like, this is what what? How long have we both been married now?
Me, 12 years. Just celebrated 2 yesterday.
Yeah, so 12 years for me as well. And I felt like this game was one of the first that just nails that, like, long-term relationship. Like,
right.
The banter, the way that they just interact with lots of in-jokes and subtleties, and you're just like...
Yep.
And... honestly, I can't think of another game that does it as well as that.
I was comparing the relationship to how I felt about The Witcher, and I really got invested in those characters and like Geralt's relationship with Triss in my playthrough, at least. This was way better. Like way better written in terms of the relationship. Like exactly what you said, the shorthand that couples develop that writers seem to forget about, or they're not in relationships and they don't know. Like my wife and I, we don't talk in like even complete sentences. We talk in jokes the whole time and like references to things from the past that just say a whole story's worth of things in like 6 words, you know?
Yep, and they nailed that. One of my favorite points in the entire game was towards the end of the game. And it's where, is Elena playing dead?
Oh, God. Yeah.
I laughed so hard at that.
So did I.
So hard.
Oh my God. When that was happening, I was like, she's knocked out, Nate. You're not even noticing. She's knocked out, Nate. You're not even noticing. And he looks over and he's like, Elena? And he gets all freaked out. And then she starts laughing. He's like, oh my God, are you kidding me? I felt like I was with Nate in that moment, just like totally, I was suckered.
I'd have to rewatch it again. Did she do a Ferris Bueller reference at that point? Did she do like Nathan Drake, you're my... Like, I have this from memory. I'd have to remember. I thought there was some reference, or like not reference, but it was like, this is very much an homage to the end of Ferris Bueller. If you've seen Ferris Bueller?
I have, but I haven't seen it in years. So if there was one, I wouldn't actually recognize it.
It was Cameron in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, like, falls into the pool at the end because he's freaking out and, like, acts like he's drowning.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and they pull him out and he acts like he's drowning, like, Ferris Bueller's like, don't die, don't do this to me, and like gives him CPR and then like opens his eyes and just like basically the Ferris Bueller, you're my hero, and just starts laughing.
Oh no, she absolutely did that.
Yeah, so it's totally
Oh God,
Ferris Bueller's Day Off reference.
that's awesome. Yeah, no, that's exactly what she said. Nathan Drake, you're my hero. Oh my God, that's awesome. The Easter egg kind of reference that I got was when Nate's sword fighting Rafe, and he's like, "Do you even know how to sword fight?" And he's like, "Yeah, you stick him with the sharp end." And I was like, "Oh, it's like so close to stick him with the pointy end."
At the end.
Oh my God.
The writing is pretty fantastic in 4 overall.
So good, and it's just the gameplay, the writing, the visuals, everything is just like so mature, right down to the trophy list. Like the trophy list is better than the other trophy lists, and it's not fantastic, but it's not like kill 50 people with each gun or whatever.
No. They seem to have actually taken some of that criticism to heart. That was always like the body count in these games.
Yeah.
And they definitely felt like they somewhat addressed it more in 4. There's a bit of body count, but
oh yeah,
they reference it a little bit more and like
Nathan Drake
just ignore it.
Right. Nathan Drake is a freaking mass murderer.
Yes.
Oh my God.
So favorite locale in the game for you?
I am surprised. Okay, I'm trying to remember all of them. There was Madagascar, probably Madagascar. But the Jungle Island, which was, where was the Jungle Island? I forget where that was at.
That was
Kings Bay?
Yeah, wasn't that Tortuga?
Oh, okay.
Or whatever that city.
It was
Libertalia.
an
Libertalia.
Yeah.
Sorry, not Tortuga. That's in a different pirate city. God.
Keep your pirates
yes.
straight, man.
Yeah, I mean, I do expect that, like, whatever that island was that was off of Madagascar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it just the marooned chapter where it's an island when you first get there and you're it's just pouring down rain. Like I really like the visuals there. But I think Madagascar was my favorite, and my favorite vista was when you climb to the top of the church to get that trophy, and you're just like, I can see my house from here, and it's just like Assassin's Creed Syndicate to me.
Yeah, I agree. That was probably my favorite was the Madagascar Kings Bay section where you're climbing the clock tower.
Yep. That was my favorite.
That was awesome.
Yep.
And then the collapsing.
Yep.
That was such a set piece.
Right.
Incredible.
There were some really good, like when you're running away from the Jeep in the city scene, or I think it was city scene. And God, it was that. I think it was that one. It was you and Sam, or Nate and Sam. And I got to the end of the thing, and I was just like, holy shit. And then Sam said it like a second later. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Oh. Seriously, I mean, games don't hold my attention that long, and I've been playing nothing but Uncharted since nearly the beginning of October. So it's a special game. It's a special series. I don't think I'll ever go back and play 1, but I would definitely. For me, if I feel like I want to go back and platinum the game, I feel like then it's a meaningful game for me, and I want to go back and platinum 2 and 4.
Nice.
And I have your disc, so I'm going to send your disc back to you. And during the Black Friday sales, I'm going to pick up Uncharted 4 because it's
nice.
I'm buying this game. Like I borrowed it from
you. You're like, it's worth it.
I played it for free. I could be done. I'm replaying this game at some point. I loved it. The writing, the characterization, that's what I look for in video games. The story, you know.
Yeah, I agree. These, in some ways, I'm like, this is a modern day Indiana Jones. Like, more than Lucas and Spielberg were able to do with Crystal Skull. Like, they're like, this is what Indiana Jones would look like now, like modern day. Which I guess is a nice segue to our news.
Yeah, so let's hit the news section now. The first piece of news Anthony found for us, and it is about Uncharted. Do you want to take that one away?
Yeah, so we talk about how cinematic this is, the games are, and they've been long working on a film version of Uncharted, and there's been tons of directors attached to it. Not tons, like 2 or 3, and a bunch of different scripts written. It's in development hell. It's never got off the ground, really.
Yeah.
Its current director, Sean Levy, on it, and they're currently in the middle of the script, but he is in news saying he's in secret conversations to cast Nathan Drake. So Mark Wahlberg was up in this role for a long time.
Mark Wahlberg?
Yeah, it was David O. Russell was the director.
Uh-huh.
I can't remember what he's done. He's done a lot of really popular movies. Not really like straight up action stuff, but it was him and Mark Wahlberg were the ones that were being shopped around by Sony,
Huh.
and that fell apart. I cannot see Mark Wahlberg as Nathan Drake.
Definitely not. I almost feel like it needs to be someone that we don't know.
I kind of agree. I think my thing when I posted this, like, I always actually thought Nathan Fillion would make a great Nathan Drake.
Well, half of 4, I was like, he kind of looks like Nathan Fillion.
He's older, like once he's older and everything, but I feel like Fillion could actually like I haven't
Convey
seen
the
him do
humor.
yeah, he has that the right tone
Mm-hmm.
for Drake.
Right.
Again, I haven't seen Fillion actually do like big action stuff, so
Right.
But he's always kind of been my person. I'm like, I could see that. But it sounds like they're really trying hard to move forward with this. Again,
Yeah.
I guess from the success of 4,
Right.
they're like, people are like, okay, let's do this. Although it's kind of weird. I mean, they're just going to tell the story of the first game.
Are they really?
The movie. Yeah, they're just going to go in order if they do this.
Oh, I thought they were gonna kind of like synthesize in some way.
I don't think so. I think they're actually. I mean, it sounded like years ago it was going to be like they wanted to do 4 movies if they're going to do it, and it will basically mirror the stories of the games.
Yeah. Okay.
Which I'm like, the games are very cinematic. This is where I'm like, I don't know if a movie is necessary.
You know, absolutely. Like I was telling my wife, kind of telling her a little bit about Uncharted 4, and I was like, it's just a movie. I played a movie for 15 plus 10 plus 12, like, what was that? 25, 35, 37 hours?
Yeah.
A 37-hour movie I just watched.
Yeah, and I kind of feel like. So I don't know. It's kind of interesting though that this is continuing on in a conversation, and maybe it will eventually come out.
Yeah.
Maybe the Assassin's Creed movie is gonna do crappy, and then they'll decide to not do video game movies again for a long time.
Right. Well, I'm very looking at this news got me excited again for the Assassin's Creed movie. I really want to see it, and I'm hoping it's good.
I'll make sure I go see it too. We can make a pact that we'll both go see it.
Yeah, no matter what.
And we can report on the podcast how it is. I figure I have to go see that one just to. I gotta try.
Yeah.
I at least have hope that it might be okay, but
and try to support them, and it's please be good. That's all I gotta say. Please be good. Next piece of news just blew my mind. I was so excited to read this. So excited.
So yeah, BlizzCon happened. So
yeah.
we had a bunch of news out of BlizzCon. Probably the most exciting for you and I is the Necromancer is coming to Diablo 3.
And I'm playing
back.
I'm playing the video in the background for the listeners.
Nice. It's really cool. I was always been wondering what the next things for Diablo 3 are going to be, and they kind of delivered at BlizzCon of like, okay, there's going to be a new Rise of the Necromancer
pack or something.
Pack. I mean, they said it's gonna cost money.
Right,
so
definitely.
And it's Blizzard. And usually when they do things like this, they don't do the bare minimum. So it's not like you're gonna pay money and only get a class. There's probably other things that they haven't announced that will come with it.
Right.
That's just in their style. They're just like, look at all this stuff you get, but it's not a full expansion.
So it's basically, it's not like a new chapter or whatever.
No. So.
Yeah. Or an act. I mean, not a chapter.
So. They're doing that, and it's male, female, Necromancer, corpse explosion is there. They're like, clearly it's very true to the Diablo 2 Necromancer, but they're going to take their own Diablo 3 spin on it.
It just looks like they plopped the Diablo 2 character right into Diablo 3, and it's just like, wow, way to make a pretty damn good game. Much better.
Yeah. And part of me is like wondering if they do this, and if this is received well, if they'll do other classes too.
I mean,
that people are like, oh, it provides a revenue stream
exactly
for them going forward as they probably work on D4, honestly.
Well, if Blizzard's listening, if you keep dropping Diablo 2 characters into 3, I will buy every single pack.
It's so true.
In fact, I'm thinking about buying 3 on the computer again. Just
but you don't have to. I mean, computer's great. I'm gonna have a working PS3 again.
PS3?
PS4.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay. Like you're going backwards again.
No, that should get here Wednesday finally.
Oh, really? It's
yeah.
already done. Okay.
Oh, I mean, seriously, it was 24 hours.
Really?
Like they received it and then they shipped my shipping notification for it coming back to me was about 24 hours later.
So they popped out the hard drive and put it into just a new system, probably.
I'm thinking it's either that or they have it down to a thing where they can just place a new board in it.
Yeah, that's true.
They just pull everything out, place a new board. I don't know what's cheaper for them. So that's right. Basically where I'm at. It's like whatever's cheaper is what's going to be happening.
You're getting a Slim.
I doubt that. I bet they have stock backpiled for this.
Right.
But basically, so I heard also BlizzCon at a different panel, seasons are coming to console.
Oh, they are? Oh, okay,
yeah.
Never mind then. All right, because that's why I would have hopped over, is for seasons.
Probably by the time this is out. They said 2017 seasons will be on console. They're going to be putting Diablo 1 into Diablo 3.
So I was talking to a friend about that this weekend, and he was telling me that was hearsay. But that was straight
they
from
announced
BlizzCon,
that.
right?
They announced that at BlizzCon, and they showed it.
Yeah, okay.
Nope, not hearsay. It's an event. It will be live in January for console and PC.
In January? Wow.
Yep.
Hey.
Goes on the PTR next week.
I'm off for January, so that's perfect timing.
Yeah, so you'll be able to just roll a new character. There'll be a portal in Tristram in Diablo 3 that will take you to Diablo 1 Tristram. And they put a graphics filter on it that makes it look more like Diablo 1, so pixely and a little bit ugly.
Yeah.
Sounds are going to be pulled from Diablo 1.
Damn.
Music and everything, and you can only move in 8 directions.
Oh my god, really?
Yep.
Huh.
They make your character. They showed videos of it too at BlizzCon, and yeah, it looks a lot like Diablo 1. 16 levels, the 4 boss, which is all of Diablo 1.
It's like the Butcher,
the 4 bosses: Butcher,
the
Skeleton,
Baker, the Candlestick Maker.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
I couldn't remember all of them. It's been so long since I played the first Diablo. But yeah, they said that will be a yearly event in January.
So only playable in January.
Yep, and there'll be unique achievements tied to it. And so that's happening then, and 2 new zones are going to show up for Adventure Mode, like they've done. So, I mean, BlizzCon just showed me that, yep, they're still supporting this game.
Awesome. Yeah, that's exciting. And I don't know, do you think that means there is a Diablo 2 remake, whatever, this kind of treatment in the works, or is that this just easy to do?
Diablo 1's a much easier one to do.
Yeah.
We'll see what they want to do. They may not want to revisit. They may just do what they're doing now and be like, yeah, we're not going to remake Diablo 2, but we'll pull classes from it. And
which is
kind of give you Diablo 2 in Diablo 3.
Exactly. I think that might be enough. Close enough, because that's awesome. And I wonder, the Paladin or the Sorceress or the Barbarian, those are too close to what's in the game now. But the Druid maybe, or even the Assassin might be different enough to bring in.
I think they could.
The Amazon.
The Amazon kind of matches with the I always want to say Ranger, but the person Diablo 3, she has crossbows, hand crossbows. Demon Hunter.
Oh, there you go, Demon Hunter. Yeah, you're right.
And that's the range one. There's variations. Like, even the Necromancer is somewhat like the Witch Doctor. The Witch Doctor is somewhat like the Necromancer. But they feel like they can do enough difference between them. So.
Well, we're all for it. We're going to just throw my money. Take it.
Yep, pretty much.
Oh, my God. So the next piece of news was something that I saw, and I just dismissed it because I thought it was totally fake. Apparently, some dude working on Tomb Raider was riding a Montreal subway with his laptop open, and it's this guy working on text for a game called Shadow of the Tomb Raider, which...
It actually looks like a PowerPoint presentation.
Oh, okay.
I bet it's a internal slide, honestly, that was being used as either like a internal pitch to vested interest parties like executives and
Yeah.
like, here's the pitch for what is it, Shadow of the Tomb Raider?
Yep, Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
Yeah, you thought it was fake. I saw this and I'm like, oh, that's totally real.
Well, it was so blurry. I was like, oh, this is just faked because there's not really a lot of information besides the name. But there you
go. Yeah, I mean, the more people have laptops. I mean, I've worked on things on my laptop on public transportation.
Yeah. That were like kind of confidential things.
It is confidential. I just didn't think anyone would care.
Yeah, right.
It's like people around me aren't going to notice. This can happen, I guess. I'm sure that employee is like, shit. Hopefully they don't get too much in trouble for it, because you kind of feel bad. You're like, the dude's just working.
Yeah.
Like, whatever.
And it's just the name, so it's not really that much information.
But you're like, there you go. There's another Tomb Raider on the way.
Yeah.
It's kind of, I'm like, I don't know if there's going to be another one or not. Depended on, I haven't seen what sales were of the last one. So
it just seemed like a no shit. I thought that the sales had been pretty good enough, at least.
There wasn't even a guarantee that it was going to get its first sequel.
Right, Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Like, the sales were not originally that fantastic for. There was a lot of stuff where even though it sold 3 million copies.
Yeah.
I remember the quote from Square Enix execs that were like, "We're not sure if that makes enough money to do another."
Right. Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Because these games cost so much money. So 3 million copies sold.
Right.
Shockingly, is not enough. The PS4 version sold really well of the original, which gave them a lot more confidence. And then Rise of the Tomb Raider, Microsoft pitched in some money for that as well. So,
have you played Rise yet?
No, I haven't.
I mean, playing Uncharted 4, like, I'm kind of was comparing it to Rise. I didn't finish Rise, but because the story is just not very compelling for me, and that's what kind of pulls me through. But the mechanics and everything else, the crafting and whatever, super good, really good.
Yeah, I mean, even the new Tomb Raiders definitely pull a lot from Uncharted.
Oh yeah,
they definitely are like, okay, you've seen what the bar is for this type of game now.
Yep.
So.
Oh, Uncharted is just raised the bar so high. It's just like, honestly, it's probably game of the year at this point. I'm gonna play a few more games this year. I've been playing a lot of old ones, but some of the new ones, still, this one tops them all.
Yeah, I would agree. I can't. I would not be shocked if Uncharted 4 is my game of the year.
Yeah.
It's stuck with me for the entire year. I mean,
right.
It's been, when did it come out?
May.
Yeah,
May
so
10th.
I played it back then when it first came out, and I'm
you
still
played it
like,
in Mexico, yeah.
I'm like, no, this is still really good.
Yep. Oh man, so good. Next piece of news, which is about the Wii U. This is from Polygon, and they said the Wii U is going out of production this week, which then Nintendo came out and said, no, that's not true. Which Nintendo has come out and said, no, that's not true about other things before. But there's no way that Nintendo's not. They're done making Wii U's. They have to be.
Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't this, I mean, they could basically say, that's not true. It's not this week. It's next week.
That's true. Well, and
or that's not true. It's actually already out of production. Ha.
Or that's not true, but it actually is true. Who cares? Like,
yeah,
you can't.
But either way, it's going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, with the Switch, the hype for the Switch ramping up, and that coming out in March, and yeah, I mean, people, if you want a Wii U, I mean, the Wii U is worth it for the library, to be honest. But a lot of those games seem to be going over to the Switch. It looks like from that video that we saw. So.
Yeah. I would say if you could pick up one cheap, sure, why not?
Right.
But if not, just hold out for the Switch. You'll get the main games, the key games over on the Switch, it seems.
Yeah, you're gonna get Mario Kart. You're gonna get Zelda. I have
Splatoon.
Splatoon, and I assume you're gonna get Smash Brothers as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then that's about it. That's all the news. So I guess we'll hop right into what we are playing. But before we do, I have a code to give out. This is a code for a little game called Stardew Valley. This is a Steam code. It is GRTCD H44W9 RMYNY. GRTCD H44W9 RMYNY, and that is for Stardew Valley. Got a few more codes here I'll give about the next few weeks. Broforce, and Styx, Master of Shadows, and Rebel Galaxy. So if you're interested in those games, they're a pretty good crop of games there. So stay tuned in the next couple of weeks, and we'll give those away as well. If Anthony doesn't redeem them himself.
It's true. That's always a threat.
Yes, it is.
That looms large over everyone.
Yep, if it's a good game, yeah, who knows? So what we're playing, you and I, we're both playing one game. We'll go with yours first because it's not a repeat.
So I've been playing Skyrim a lot.
That sounds like it's a surprise to you.
It is, because I was like, I'm just going to test out this special edition. It'd be fine. Nope, totally in. I actually now reached the point where I've stopped previously.
Really?
Storyline-wise.
Okay.
Which is actually not that far. There's a mission where you have to go to the Thalmar embassy. And usually I never actually get there. Mm-hmm. I get so sidetracked. And I'm starting to get sidetracked because I have everything. At that point, everything's unlocked. You know about shouts. You know where dragons are. You can kill dragons, get souls. You know how to get new words. There's tons of miscellaneous quests now. Yeah, we'll see how far I get, but I've been kind of surprised how much time I've put in there. I think my Steam, I should see. I'm at 21 hours played of the special edition.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's pretty respectable.
It is respectable for the fact that I'm like, oh, I'm playing this game again. Maybe I'll beat it this time, or maybe I'll just get distracted and drift away.
Right.
I'm not sure. It's still a good game. Bethesda makes really good games, and I don't know how interesting the story is overall, but the world they craft are just fun to explore and find nice little things here and there. That kind of keeps me going. I'm like, oh, I'll just go spend an hour. I'm just going to go into this random dungeon and see what I find. And usually I find something pretty cool. Like, you are rewarded for exploration in these games.
Yeah, they do a really good job of, you kind of just get immersed and lost for a couple hours, and I don't know, everything else kind of fades away and you just have to have fun. I mean, that's kind of the point, really. I'm not really super into the story, but it is fun to get lost and explore.
Yeah. So yeah, that's really what I've been playing. Special edition looks nice. I've now been getting. They released on Monday or Tuesday the creation kit for it, so a bunch of people have already ported their mods over to it.
Oh, nice.
So it looks even better for me now and has a bunch of nice features that people have modded in over the years.
Like you got some new texture packs or?
Some new textures. I have the open cities, so you don't load when you go into a city. The gates just open and you just walk in.
Oh, that's really nice.
Everything's just connected.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it just helps a ton. Like
that helps with immersion.
Yeah, the biggest one. Yeah, a few little texture things. Some follower. There's like a mod that's really highly rated that changes a bunch of the conversations with followers.
Huh.
So to make it just more interesting talking to them. And, there's an unofficial patch that I always get that it's just the community has fixed a ton of bugs. So
that's nice for Bethesda to kind of let the community do it and make their game better.
Yeah, so highly recommend it. If
Awesome.
You haven't played Skyrim or wanted to play Skyrim, this is a good version to play.
Well, I will definitely get back to it at some point. The game I've been playing this week, obviously Uncharted 4. I said most of the things earlier. One thing I didn't mention, though, was I read a couple reviews of Uncharted 4 while I was playing or before I even got into it. And a lot of people kind of faulted the third act, quote-unquote third act, from chapter 13 through 22 just for being a long slog and kind of overstaying its welcome. And I was kind of ready for that. And it didn't. I didn't find it to be overly long. I know it's longer than the other ones, but I didn't find the third act to be at all boring or overstaying its welcome. Like, I didn't feel like they kept repeating the same things over and over again. Like, it was varied and different each chapter. I don't know what people were thinking about.
Yeah, I didn't feel that way. I was pretty intrigued the whole way. What was chapter 13?
13 was Marooned, I believe.
That's where you're on Libertalia and like starting to explore that whole thing.
That's right.
But isn't that when you get Elena back?
Not at that point. You play 13 alone, and then you find Sam, and then you do 14. You get to the treasury.
Sure. Yeah, and then they switch it up enough, and then when Elena comes back, I'm like, I was fully in when she came back, because I
Elena
just wanted to deal with the whole, like,
relationship.
Yeah, you've done a really stupid thing, Drake. Now it's time to actually, like,
Nathan
figure
Morgan.
out if you have a marriage left.
Exactly. Well, and it was 16 was where you went back and they were kids, so
that was a fantastic chapter.
I loved it. It was so good. At first, I was like, "Oh, we're going backwards," and I was like, "Nope, this is so good." And then
no, it needed to happen. It explains so much.
So much.
Finally, you're just like, I understand you as a character.
Yep. That's right.
More than I ever have in any other games. It's like, I get it.
Yep. And it sets up why Sam breaks off later. Pretty well. I'm trying not to get too spoilery because we passed the spoiler part, but just so good. Anyway, that's what I'm playing. Next section.
Have you heard about DLC for Uncharted 4? Actually,
I'm going to be in the audience, I hope, when they announce it. But it sounds like there's going to be single player.
Yeah, they've actually talked about a single player thing, and all the rumors is it's going to be post this game.
Post.
Yeah.
Ooh, like post epilogue or post.
I think post epilogue is all the rumors.
Oh
has something to do with her daughter, with the daughter, and Sam's there, like the whole thing. Like,
dude,
I'm like, if this is real, that's going to be awesome.
That's another reason why I'm buying, because obviously I need to send this back to you because you're going to play that. But I need to buy it now. But
I was really surprised that they're even going to do more.
Yeah.
Just from they haven't done single player DLC for Uncharted.
Right.
So
this all been multiplayer DLC, right? And that's it.
Yeah. So they're like, no, we've told our story. So it's interesting to see that they're gonna maybe they still have some stuff that they want to tell.
I wonder when that's gonna come out. But I can't wait to be there in person to hear about it.
Next year sometime.
Yeah. PSX is gonna be rad. I heard they're gonna have some T-shirts that are only for PSX, so that'd be fun. I like merch. I like T-shirts especially.
There is some stuff there. There were some like plushies too.
Oh yeah, and there are this year. They announced that there's a couple of plushies, like a Rapid Rapper and something else I don't really care about, but
yeah,
I'll be ready to spend some money when I go there. Last section, off-topic banter. We're going to talk a little bit about the podcasts that we're into. We both listen to some podcasts. I'll start. My podcasts right now are almost all political. I'm listening to the 538 Elections podcast where they're breaking down the elections every day, the polls and such. And then Keeping It 1600, which is a speechwriter and a communications director for Obama during the first term. They do a political podcast that's really funny and really smart. And they have a good mix of, they have some Republicans on there, some Never Trump Republicans, and a bunch of Democratic guests, and they're just breaking down the polls and trying to keep people from wetting the bed over the polls changing all the time. And just encouraging people to get out and knock on doors and do phone banking and stuff, which my wife and we were going to do some phone banking this weekend, but my wife wasn't feeling that great, so we just went and bought food for phone bankers instead. So we brought in food for them to sustain them as they're doing their good work.
Nice.
Yeah, really good. And obviously I listen to a lot of gaming podcasts. I listen to most of the IGN gaming podcasts and then the PlayStation. So I listen to Unlocked and Game Scoop and Beyond, and then I listen to the PlayStation Blogcast, like the official PlayStation podcast, basically, and then the Kind of Funny Guys and their PlayStation podcast. Although I like Greg a lot. Colin gets on my nerves.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
That's probably the main reason why I don't really listen to a ton of their stuff.
Yeah, I would listen.
And also, I'm like listening enough with Colin. Like his actual game tastes, do not align with my game tastes at all.
Right.
Like, I was like, there's been some where I'm like, you just completely offended me on a very personal level on how much you dislike that type of game.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. I guess not offended, but I'm just like, I cannot trust your opinion on games that you like, because they're just wildly different than mine.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely don't think I align with his much at all. I align with Greg a lot more. Just the thing that kind of drives me nuts is it's his shtick, of course, but a little moody and just a little bit down about games and kind of what he's doing within the games industry. And it's just like, you have a great thing going on. Like, just, I don't know. I understand that depression is a real thing, and I suffer from that as well. But like, this is, I don't know. You're performing, and you've got to kind of perk up for your audience. So I don't know.
Yeah, I get it.
That just drives me nuts a little.
When do you listen to most of your podcasts?
Commuting.
Okay.
I drive 40 minutes north and then 40 minutes south. So I listen to either audiobooks or podcasts. That's all I listen to.
Okay.
And usually podcasts, maybe like 1.5 times speed, audiobooks 3 times speed. So I get through a lot.
Yeah, that would do it. So for me, most of my podcasts, I listen to stuff, one called Terminal 7, which is a Netrunner podcast done for the Idle Thumbs network puts out. It's basically some game developers, designers that play Netrunner, and they talk about Netrunner, but they also talk about like less about the rules in the game and more about like the creation of the game. Like they get people from Fantasy Flight who make the game on, like the art director and the designers there, and they ask very developer type questions to them about how they're making the game and stuff. And I love that game. So that usually comes out like once or twice a month. I'll listen to that one. Then recently, I've been listening to a thing called the Campaign Podcast.
Whoa.
It is, I don't even know. It's probably like almost 90 episodes when I got into it. It's people playing a Star Wars role-playing game. It is the funniest goddamn thing I've ever listened to. Probably ever. I laugh. I am such a grinning, holding in my laughter moron on my commute when I'm listening to this thing. And I'm on public transportation the entire time, so I'm like, God, people probably think I'm so weird, but I can't not help but chuckle and laugh.
Who's this psychotic guy over there, like, chuckling to himself?
Yeah, but I can't hold it in because these people are just so funny to listen to. They're improv people in Chicago that are playing a long-running Star Wars RPG.
Do you know what troop they are in Chicago? Is it Second City or?
Not a clue.
Okay.
I don't know if they're that famous or anything. They just bill themselves as they do improv as well. So
okay. Got it.
I think they're just a collection of a few people. It's part of the One Shot podcast network, which for a long time, where I originally heard of them years ago, is they would pick up random role-playing games and do one-shots in them and record them.
Oh, nice.
But at one point they did a Star Wars one, and then one of the players, she decided she was like, I'm going to run this as a campaign. And they started recording it and called it Campaign Podcast. And yeah, so I listened to it, and then I told my wife about it at one point. I'm like, this is actually really funny. You should give it a listen. And she is farther in it than I am now.
Really? Oh,
yeah,
wow.
It comes out every Wednesday, and I believe she's like 2 episodes ahead of me now.
Oh, okay.
Where I'm in the high 60s, so I have a couple more weeks, because I usually listen to 2 episodes a day right now. One going to work and one coming home.
Right. How long is that podcast?
Usually between 50 minutes to an hour and a half, depending.
Oh, okay, cool.
They try to keep it about an hour, usually. And then, like I said, it's nothing serious. It's just funny. It's not news. It's just people having, like, you can just clearly tell these people really like each other and like being around each other and making each other laugh. And so that makes me laugh. I have been listening to the 538 podcast.
Oh, nice.
Not consistently, but every time to time I'll pick it up. And when I don't feel like being, when I feel like I can handle listening to more stuff about the election.
Right.
There is a point that I reached where I'm just like, I can't listen to the stuff about this anymore.
I need it to end.
It's raising my blood pressure.
I need it to end because I can't stop. I'm constantly looking at news and polls, and it's just, I'm feeling pretty good now. I've kind of gotten over stuff, but I need it to end so I can stop being so obsessive.
Yeah. I guess welcome to the world of how elections are now.
Yeah.
You told me about this back in college, I'd be like, I had no clue. Like, I would have never imagined that there would be so much information to consume about elections.
Right. Yeah, it's really...
And just no way to avoid it. It's just there all
Right.
the time. And I'm just like, I kind of don't want to consume about it right now. I really don't. I guess I'll turn all my media devices off and go read a book on the couch.
Yep. Well, it is... I found myself thinking the other day, I'm looking forward to the election being over because I love to read news, and I want to read news that's not about the election. And that's all there is.
And I would say the news about the election isn't even...
News?
What was the thing that came out that was like, there's been so little policy discussion?
Oh, it was 32 minutes between ABC, CBS, and NBC, and the entire election cycle devoted to policy.
It's disgusting.
Like, can you tell me Clinton's policy on pot, or the military, or healthcare, or no, we haven't. She has been giving policy speeches. They've been dropping white papers left and right. No
but they
one's
don't,
fucking covering
it. Doesn't report it.
Yeah, no one's covering it. And, Trump hasn't said anything out, neither has the other two fucking Johnson and Stein. So
No.
Yeah.
But still, it's just like, I guess policy doesn't matter anymore.
Well, I mean, this election cycle has upended a lot of things. For Trump to get this close, I think in the end it's not going to be that close, but, right now the polls kind of look like it is.
It honestly, and that's a part. I'm like, it depends on what polls you look at.
It does, and the thing that
I follow 538, and I always have, and I'm
too.
like, I trust them, but then I'm like, well, all these other sites have wildly different things. Okay, I don't know. Let's just get through Tuesday.
The thing about the polls, even though my candidate is polling ahead right now, I think that they're polling likely voters. And a lot of the models, except for the really high quality polls, which there are fewer high quality polls now, they still call landlines. They still call landlines, and they call likely voters. So Latinos, for example, who didn't vote in previous elections, they're not calling because they don't see them as likely voters. But they are.
I was really wondering about, is there reasons why they don't call cell phones? Is it because of do not call list type stuff?
I actually don't know why. I just think it's kind of like Nielsen ratings, right? They catalog what people are watching through cable, but not online. It's just slow to evolve, perhaps. But the high-quality pollsters do call cell phones. So
weird. Kind of feel like texting people would be the way to go in a lot of ways.
Well,
text. Who are you going to vote for? Press.
There was a pollster.
Reply with 1 or 2.
There was a pollster on keeping it 1600. Which, if you haven't listened to that, you should. It's really funny.
Okay.
Check that out. Maybe it'll come up for the election. I'm not sure. Or just listen to the old one. And they do push polls through cell phones. So you could basically what you just said, but it's kind of like an in-app kind of thing. And they're scary accurate. So they just get to more people. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's what you need for most of these polls. The more people you have, the more accurate your data is going to be. So.
Yeah. Do you have a prediction for the Electoral College? You want to make a prediction before we go?
I was looking at. I expect that Clinton will win it with around 335.
Oh wow. Okay.
320, 335. I think she'll break 300 for sure.
Oh yeah. My guess for Clinton is 311.
Okay. I don't actually know what the state breakdown is. I looked at it a couple weeks ago, and now I'm like, I can't remember. Well,
538 has her not winning Florida and North Carolina, and I think she wins both of them, and that's going to bring her to
I'm almost certain. I have a hard time seeing her not win Florida overall.
Right. Yep, me too.
Even though, even 538 has almost a 50-50. Some of their models, when they ran it over the past week, it was 50-50.
Right. It was white.
So I'm like, I think she has a very good chance of winning Florida.
I agree.
More than the polls are giving her, there. But I understand 538 model of where they're posting, the polls could be wrong. There is that chance that the polls are actually just wrong, and I understand that. Brexit happened. Polls were wrong. And it's talked about how that's different and everything, and there's different, but overall, polls can be wrong. That's just a more of... I'm not trying to get into the nuances of why those polls were wrong. It was mostly just sometimes when you're getting all this data, you can be wrong. even if there's a lot of it.
The comparison with Brexit is interesting because the polls actually weren't wrong. The analysis was wrong. The polls, like Nate Silver did a thing about the Brexit, like stop comparing it to the Brexit because the Brexit polls were nearly 50-50. But people were analyzing that and saying that the Leavers weren't going to come out and vote. And that was not
I
true.
see.
So, yeah, it's our polls are not as close as the Brexit. Brexit was really close. But
Clinton's never trailed Trump in a poll
not since there was two days on 538 where she trailed.
On 538.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of like, sorry. It'd be very weird to have her lose, in my opinion. I guess the way it would lose to me is like weird electoral college math more than anything.
269, and yeah, that would be nuts. That would be the country would go into chaos, I think.
Well, yeah, because isn't it the House decides at that point?
Yes.
Yeah, that would go well.
No, it would not go well. So anyway, we'll see. I mean, Tuesday I'm going to be at a party. I'm taking that night off, so I'm going to go to a party and hopefully be celebrating. So we'll see. And next week
be drunk either way.
Can't really because I got to teach the next morning, but just going to eat a lot of pizza probably.
Good call.
Yeah. All right, my friends. Thanks so much for staying with us through this podcast. This has been episode 58 of Prof and Dev Play Games. Prof and Dev Play Games, excuse me. We are on Twitter. I'm at Prof Plays Games, and he's at SummerSpeak. It has been our pleasure to talk to you tonight and this week, and we will see you next week.
Yeah, have a good night, everyone.
Yeah, and enjoy playing some Oxenfree, Anthony.
I will. And everyone vote, please.
Please go and vote.
If you're in the U.S., vote.
Yes.
Vote if you're in other countries, but I don't think you have elections going on right now.
Yeah, vote in your elections. But for the Americans listening who are registered to vote, get out and vote. It's super
Just do
important.
it, please.
Yep. All right, my friends. Talk to you next week.
All right. Good night.
Good night, folks.